Hello everyone and welcome to this new edition of GM Web3 MultiversX, a live X space every Wednesday at 10 a.m. CET to find out all about MultiversX ecosystem. Of course, the show will be then published on podcast platforms, on our YouTube channel and on the Seaborg app. I am very happy to present this show with my friend Arno, BizDev manager at Seoul and Hatom. How are you Arno?
I'm good, thank you, my dear friend GRM.
Did you spend a good
For
week?
this second edition. Yes, you mean since last week?
Yeah.
It was a good week. Yes, it was a good week, a good busy week. And with a busy weekend because I had a wedding, so you know.
Oh, okay. Very good. So I would like to thank the main sponsor of GM Web3 MultiversX, which is the Hatom protocol. It's the MultiversX leading lending, borrowing, and liquid staking platform. And they are offering $25 in their token, the HTM. And to take part of it, all you have to do is to quote tweet the Spaces link and say what you think about GM Web3 MultiversX. Of course, it's better to say good about it. And I will put their link on the comment section. Today, we are with Joaquim, founder of Gopa Labs and so much more on MultiversX. Hello, Joaquim. How are you?
Good morning. I'm alright. Haven't slept much, but excited to be here.
Why?
Because building takes time.
What are you building?
Too many things, but we'll discuss that another day.
Okay. Sounds good. We have surprising columnist this morning, Alice War. Maybe you know him from X. It was Elrond City. Yeah, they never rebranded as XCT, but he asked for the mic, so maybe it was a mistake. Okay. So let's go for the program of today. First of all, we'll be doing a press review of the main Web3 news with the We Care or We Not format. I hope you liked it last week. After Arno will do his Hatom yield report column. After this, we will receive at last Quentin. Maybe you know him as Quentin, who is building something great for MultiversX. We will know more about what he's doing for months now. After this, we will receive co-founder of Burnify to let us know what happened after 1 year. The protocol is 1 year now, and at the end of the space we will speak about the announcements around xDay 2024, who was supposed to take place in Seoul like in a few weeks. Things changed about it, and we will discuss all together about this announcements of last week. So before we start,
Very exciting.
Yeah. We will try to speak about everything that happened on MultiversX. And before we start, don't forget to retweet the space link and to quote tweet if you want to be eligible to the giveaway. There are many different rewarding tokens, $125 in total. And put a like in the comment. And if you're listening to the show on replay on podcast platform or on our YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe, to add a like and a comment, to activate the bell so you don't miss any shows. Also, this space is like always, it's interactive. So don't hesitate to ask your questions in the comment section. We will read them live, and you can also, of course, raise the hand to take the mic and to ask and to say what you want live directly. So let's move on to the Web3 news with the concept we inaugurated last week. Do we care or not? So I'm going to give you some news. You just need to tell me if you care or if you don't. First of all, about Monero transactions have been tracked since 2021. Do you care or you not?
Oh, yes. Yes,
So
we care.
it's just huge. According to a leaked video from Chain Analysis is the main tool to track blockchain transactions, and they are used by the majority of the actors of the ecosystem, the exchanges, and many companies in the ecosystem. So according to a leaked video, Monero, the famous XMR token, crypto we can say, transactions known for their privacy may have been traceable since 2021. Chain Analysis allegedly used malicious Monero nodes to collect user IP addresses and transaction timestamps, thereby compromising the anonymity of some Monero users. While Monero remains one of the most private cryptocurrencies, this revelation has raised concerns among its users about potential surveillance. The extent of this tracing capability remains unclear, but it enlightens ongoing challenges for privacy-focused cryptocurrencies. So, what do you think, guys? It's huge, isn't it?
I'm sorry, I have to call my lawyer now.
No, if it's true,
Yes. Yes, if it's true, it's massive. I mean, one of the core, principles and one of the core features of Monero, I mean, it's not one of the core, it is the core feature of Monero is privacy. So if this is true, big whoop.
Yeah, to be honest, I never used Monero, so I'm not personally affected by this. But yeah, in terms of philosophy, it's huge because there are two main privacy coins here. We have Monero and we have Zcash. So Zcash is already known as not really anonymous, and it's mostly used by big companies that wants anonymity, but it's more transparent through regulation and so forth. But Monero was supposed to be the most anonymous cryptocurrency, and so the community is of course not very happy about this, but I will follow this news for the next weeks, and we'll see if did we see some price impact about this around the token. So let me see. I haven't checked before. No, not that much, So yesterday it was only minus 2%, and for 7 days minus 4.3%. So it's not a lot compared to the whole market. So yeah, for the moment, XMR did.
So the stable coin is remaining stable for now.
It's a stable coin. Yeah, it's in terms of chart, it's stable. Let me check. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 4 months now. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So next news. Very important geopolitical about crisis in Venezuela. Bitcoin could be the opposition's plan B. We care or we not?
Joaquim, do you care?
Not the most, to be honest, but we can discuss it quickly if you want to.
Because I care.
Okay.
I'm very interested in what's happening in South America and how cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin, can be used by states in distress. So yes,
Sure.
please, Jeremy. Deep dive.
So faced with the economic collapse of Venezuela under Maduro, marked by 8 million person hyperinflation. So, in the United States, we have 5% inflation. In the Europe, we have about like 3, 4, 5% inflation. There, it's 8 million person in hyperinflation, we can say. Opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, as you can see, I can speak Spanish very good, sees Bitcoin as a life-saving alternative used to bypass sanctions and banking restrictions. Bitcoin enables citizens to protect their savings and fund to fight against the regime, but also the inflation. So Machado aims to integrate crypto into the financial reserves of a future democratic Venezuela. So it's very interesting because it reminds us the announcement, the declaration of Donald Trump saying that he would like to create a financial reserve in Bitcoin for the United States of America. And it reminds us also the three main roles of Bitcoin today. It's something that is a hedge against inflation. It's a way to diversify portfolio for investment intention, and also it's the best way to to bypass sanction and we can say extraterritoriality of the US law, and so the restriction and the embargo and so forth. So the Venezuela is a typical use case of Bitcoin, in my opinion. What do you think, Arno?
Those countries in Southern America, they have this big problem that their currency is mainly so we can talk about liquidity pools, similar to in the MultiversX ecosystem. When EGLD goes down, all the other tokens go down bigger, deeper, because all those tokens are in liquidity pools with EGLD. So when EGLD goes down, everything goes down. For those countries in South America, it's a bit the same. Their main token pairing, if we can talk like this, is the US dollar. So they have a big inflation problem. In Argentina, for example, I believe they have close to 200% inflation per year. In Venezuela, so you talked about the 8 million whatever, but if I recall, the previous years they had close to 700% inflation per year. So it's a massive problem for those countries. So they have to find a solution, and yes, Bitcoin could be a good solution for those. I mean, El Salvador has shown the way by having a Bitcoin as an acknowledged official national currency besides their own national currency. So this could be a solution for them. Yes, Joaquim?
So I'm going to argument the other way, in the sense that, yes, as of now, Bitcoin has been a very good investment against inflation, but like that, Bitcoin is still young if we consider compared to rare metals, etc. But also, I think we have to take into account and realize that if a lot of people, obviously there's investments, etc., where if your currency inflates too much, there's no point investing in that currency. But the day-to-day life of those people becomes more and more expensive and more uncertain because of this, and it creates a situation where they don't have any savings, etc., month after month, and slowly bring them closer to poverty if they're or under that threshold. And so I think it's more trying to find solutions using something that is more stable, like stablecoins, which then gives access to regular people to other currencies that are performing better, can be a solution. But by the end of the day, those people's wages, etc., are still being paid in the currency of the country. So no matter what, the inflation is going to impact how much they're able to, let's say they transform everything in Bitcoin every month. Well, every month that goes, they'll be able to transform less and less, obviously, because of inflation. And then they're going to need to be able to convert it back, etc. Because as you say, we have an example with El Salvador, but that's a country that has created a wallet, etc., that is actually not used by many.
I mean, you see problems, I see solutions. You know, you name the problems. You have two ways of getting out. Either you don't get out, either you try to get out. So I agree with you. The problems that you pointed out are the problems. What can they do about it? They decided to maybe, you know, try to find a solution. So
Yeah.
I think it's good
And there are
that they're
two
trying.
parts.
Yeah, and
you have the individuals and you have the companies and the states itself for their transactions and reserves also, financial reserves. So yes, it's true that in Salvador, and it's another topic of the news of today, so it can be interesting to move to this one. After a 3-year after the Bitcoin law, we have a first bilan. I don't know how to say in English, bilan. Well, I hope you understand.
You could say
Yeah, a
debrief.
debrief after 3 years after the Bitcoin law in Salvador. So I think you care because you spoke about it, Joaquim. So 3 years after adopting Bitcoin as legal tender, El Salvador shows mixed results. Despite initiatives about education, buying Bitcoin for financial reserves, for mining, to attract entrepreneurs through very interesting tax politics and so forth. 12% of Salvadorans actively use Bitcoin. So it can look disappointing, of course, but it's so much more than in France, for example. Because in France, we have 18% of people holding cryptocurrency. It's the last figure I found just today, this morning, 18%. So it's pretty good. But if you ask people who is actively using Bitcoin for, I don't know, like payment, or so on, 12% is a big, regarding also the tech skills of El Salvadoran population. So the government.
Yeah, but sorry, but I think you're comparing apples and oranges here, because obviously in France, for example, as soon as you do a purchase with any cryptocurrency, you get hit by a flat tax. There is very few merchants that accept it, while in Salvador you're nearly forced to accept their wallet. So there's a standardization. They all use the same Bitcoin layer 2 as far as I'm aware. So it is quite hard to say that like I mean, if the infrastructure is there and the laws were different in France, maybe we would have a higher percent.
That's the point of the Bitcoin law. So we agree together. I mean, people are saying actually El Salvador, the brief after 3 years is not that good and so on. But actually, it's only 3 years. And I think the tech and financial skills were not like initially very high in El Salvador. And so 12% of Salvadorans actively using Bitcoin is actually not that bad. And also we can say that the country's economy has seen greater stability since the new president was elected. We can speak about the economics figures And we're not speaking about the other points regarding security and so forth, which is not the topic today. So, I just wanted to speak about, the 3-year brief, after the Bitcoin law. So I think it's interesting because it can also, push other countries that are, backed by dollars, to use Bitcoin as a tool for sovereignty and independence. I don't know what you think about it.
I think it's a great point, and especially when you think towards the future, we see the tendency, and everything is going to transition on chain. It won't be in the next five years, but in 20 years, everything will be on chain. It's so much more efficient. So that means that, the way we pay, it will be on blockchains. We won't even notice it. It will be the same as, using our day-to-day cards. And so if you think about it, maybe what El Salvador is doing is the craziest, smartest move, because accumulating Bitcoin, if Bitcoin keeps growing, at some point they will be able to do a liquidity pool between Bitcoin and their own national currency, getting away from the dollar. And this is the way to get your monetary independence.
Joachim, quickly, and after maybe we'll have time for maybe one or two other news.
Well, the thing is, we're also talking a lot about geopolitics indirectly, because we're talking about the strength in I don't want to say oppression, but a bit of the American dollar across the world. For example, we've had wars about the fact that some countries wanted to pay for petrol in other currencies than dollars. So I totally agree on the part of sovereignty that using, and that's why we're seeing the BRICS countries coming on agreements. And since they don't have, there's not one person who is in massive strength compared to the others. They don't want to trust only one individual, and therefore they're looking at blockchain technology to solve this problem. So I definitely think that there is a future for alternate currencies running on blockchains, but I'm not sure if we don't trade, even if we have digitalized gold nowadays, we don't trade in gold because it fluctuates. We still want something that has a fixed value. That's why you're saying, Arno, I think in the future you could use Bitcoin as the way the US used the reserve of gold during the Bretton Woods agreements to peg it and therefore create stability through different assets.
I'm not sure.
GRM,
just to rebound on this, I think we don't trade in gold, not because it's volatile, but because it's not very practical. It's not liquid, and it's physical. But in Bitcoin, you can trade all over the world in a few seconds for not very for cheap, and with no political and no sanctions and no limits. And after you can of course swap in stable or in dollar in a second if you want to avoid the volatility. So I don't see the point with gold.
Well, I think to compare is if we take the stable coin backed on USD and the stable coins backed, well, not really stable coins, but the ones backed on gold, we're seeing that the ones backed by gold are very little used compared to the dollar. So there is that idea. As soon as people say when you take your profits, take them in stable, right? It has kind of become same as in the Web2 world. The go-to is the USD still, even in this new economy.
Yeah, but I think, those who wants to avoid American imperialism will not use USDC or USDT because it's American companies, and potentially they can be restrained. Bitcoin is not. So that's why I think Bitcoin can be the best because it's completely decentralized and nobody can control, nobody can, how to say, like, block any transaction, So, in Ethereum, like 50% of transactions are blocked by validators regarding the regulatory in the United States. So, yeah, I think the point is to be free to send and to receive money all around the world. And people, I think, are ready to accept a few volatility for a few seconds if they can be free to send and receive money. And that's what the people are doing when they trade with China, China, for example. They use Bitcoin to pay the invoice more and more, definitely. Yeah, maybe Arno, you wanted to say something?
Yes, actually, I'm going to propose, maybe it was one of the news that you had, but it's directly in line with this. There's a news that has come out this week saying and proving that BlackRock has been settling its BTC transactions with Coinbase without using Bitcoin's settlement network, so not using the blockchain, and actually using Coinbase and off-chain transaction books. And when you think about this, it's huge, because one of the reasons they're doing this is speed and costs of the blockchain network, of the Bitcoin network, sorry. So it goes completely directly against everything that we've just said, showing that, even if on-chain is an improvement compared to the previous system, still, it's not fast enough with Bitcoin. And it's quite massive when you think about it.
Yeah, I agree about the scalability of Bitcoin mainnet for daily transaction, definitely. But Lightning Network is not that bad. And when it's about big transaction between big companies or states or so forth, Bitcoin is, in my opinion, enough. Joaquim?
Yeah, just very quickly, as Arno says, it's a very interesting news because I think it mostly shows that BlackRock does an investment in the interest of like return on investment more than the technology itself as of now. Because even though yes, Bitcoin is slower and more expensive, etc., like we're talking about them buying massive amounts from Coinbase and just leaving them on Coinbase. Because what they could do is buy them on Coinbase, which is their on-ramp, and then have several systems that allows them to keep them on chain. But no, they just buy it and then will probably want to be able to trade it quickly. So therefore leave it on one of the biggest centralized exchanges. But yeah, it is very, for me, it shows that like there is an interest on the speculative side, but not yet really on the technology aspect of it.
Yes, the on-ramp and off-ramp is very interesting, definitely. But I think in countries like Russia or China or so forth, I think OTC and peer-to-peer exchange will be possible to avoid this centralized American exchange. Before Quentin is arriving, because in the meantime, oh no, he's here. So, Quentin, we'll say Quentin. Okay. Quentin, welcome. How are you?
Hey, do you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm fine, and you?
Yes, I am fine. It's your first time in GM Web3. No, I think you came once.
I came once, yes.
But it was just once.
Yes, it was just once, but it's not the first time.
Yeah, you're right. So I'm very happy to receive you this morning. We are friends in real life, and many times, I sent you a message or we spoke about this show, and I wanted to have you with me here. But you're so too much busy for this. But what is true is every time I see you, every time I speak to you, I ask you, okay, I think you're doing amazing things on MultiversX, but I don't get anything about what you do. So please come in the show to explain us what is it, Why is it useful to the ecosystem and so forth? So it will be interesting. So before we start the interview, Quentin, we will have the Hatom yield report. Arno, let's go.
All right. So last week we did the first Hatom yield report. So for those who weren't there, this is going to be in two parts. The first part, very short. It's some sort of weather channel. You know, is it windy, rainy? Where are the best yield opportunities in the Hatom protocol? And then I will do same as last week, where I introduced the DeFi concept. We talked about liquid staking. This today we're going to talk about another DeFi concept for those who look for getting into DeFi. So let's start with the weather channel. So I'm going to talk about two opportunities. From a week to another, they could be the same, but the APYs, the interest, could change. So this week I'm going to talk about liquid staking, EGLD. So we've gone up from 9.2% APY to 9.4% APY. This is up to, because you would need to boost your position in order to get this performance. But regular staking is around 7%. There you have more than 2%. So it's quite a lot. The second liquid staking you can get is through Tao. So Tao is 21.4% APY. So again, really huge opportunity here. And finally, the stable coins. I mean, we had, as I said last week, for now a year, we had liquidity issues on MultiversX regarding stablecoins. And so if you lend your USDC, you can get up to 17.6% APY. Just for a comparison, USDC on Aave is 3.4% APY. So 17.6 here on MultiversX, because there's not much liquidity. We're close to 850K. So that's a big opportunity for you guys. So now, going into the DeFi concept of the day. So
I will post the visual you sent me.
Oh, yes,
and
please.
I will pin it on the comment section so you can
Great.
Go ahead.
Great. So a good borrower is a safe borrower. And maybe some of you want to start using Hatom, get into lending and borrowing, to discover how you can, create your own strategies to make your crypto work for you. This is one of the core use cases, the core magic thing of blockchain. So this is why today I'm going to introduce you to your safety line on the Hatom protocol, which is called the borrow limit used. So you can have a look at the pinned tweet that GRM just shared, and you will have a visual that I created for you. And there's a big yellow circle highlighting a percentage bar that is the borrow limit used. So in decentralized finance and in lending protocols like Hatom, you have those two concepts. They can either be called borrow limit used in Hatom, or you can also have loan to value in some other lending protocols. But here we're going to talk about borrow limit used on Hatom. So when you deposit your assets, for example, you deposit EGLD as a collateral on Hatom to borrow other assets. However, how much you can borrow depends on the value of your collateral. So this is where we have the concept of borrow limit used. So it is displayed, as you can see on the picture, as a percentage bar, and it shows you how close you are to your maximum borrowing capacity. So if I had to translate this, think of it as a credit card limit. You are allowed to borrow up to a certain amount based on the value of the collateral that you deposited in Hatom. So let's do an example. Imagine that you deposit in Hatom $100 worth of EGLD. This is then put as collateral. EGLD in Hatom protocol has a collateral factor of 75%. This means that you can borrow up to 75% of the value of your deposit. So, making it easy, you have $100 worth of EGLD deposit. You can borrow up to $75 worth of assets. So you can borrow $75 of Bitcoin, $75 of ETH, $75 of USDC, etc. Now, let's come back to the borrow limit used. So if you borrow $30 is equal to 40% of your borrow limit. Remember, your EGLD has collateral factor of 75%. So $30 that you borrow is 40% of $75. So your borrow limit used at the top in the picture, the bar would go at 40%. And so you know that you still have 60% of borrowing capacity. Now, if you borrow $75, this is 100% of your borrowing limit. So your bar, the borrow limit used, will show 100%. And at this point, you will not be able to borrow anymore because your collateral capacity is maxed out. So when you want to use a lending protocol, and in the case of MultiversX Hatom, you have to keep an eye on your borrow limit used. Because if your borrow limit used gets close to 100%, then you risk liquidation in case of market fluctuations. And this, my friends, will be next week's DeFi concept, liquidations. I finished, Jerem.
Okay, thank you very much, Arno, for this Hatom yield report and
again, if
more.
People have questions, if people have questions about the borrow limit used, feel free to post them in the chat. We can talk about it after Quentin's appearance. I see that we have two people who want to ask questions in the vocally. GRM.
I have a comment in DM for you, Arno. Maybe you want to address this. I will read because we don't have much time, but it's interesting. It's a friend of ours, Save the World, an OG on GM Web3, and he's saying that he uses Hatom and he loves the rewards. But he wants to mention about MultiversX not having deep liquidity on pairs, and so you lose most of it on swapping. Do you agree with it? And maybe you have answers for this?
So I think from what I understand, and what this friend is referring to is that when you swap then some rewards because of the slippage, if there's not deep liquidity in an exchange pair, you can not have the best deal because of this lack of liquidity. So on some token pairs you have this, but on the biggest token pairs, the exchange rate is quite fine, I would say. But of course, in smaller liquidity pools, yes, you can have slippage, and yes, sometimes in your trades you're not making, you're not having the best deals. Without spoiling too much.
No, because we don't have
Hatom
time,
has
by the way.
coming to, yeah, okay.
But I know what you will speak about, and I have many comments about the Ash and so forth, but I answered that, when it's time, we will speak about Ash in detail with the core team, of Hatom. It's already planned. So yeah, just be patient about this. So let's, move, and before moving on to the interview with, Quentin, I'd like to thank, this, edition sponsor, the famous Launchpad Be Hero, who support us for months and years, we can say, and they are giving away $25 in their token Be Hat. And to enter, you just need to quote tweet the space link and say what you think about GM Web3 MultiversX. Of course, negative comments are not eligible, and I will put their link on the comment section. And now it's time to start the discussion with Quentin. So first, can you introduce yourself just for people maybe who doesn't know you already?
Yeah, just 1 second. I have an issue with my headphone. Do you?
Sure.
Just give me 2 seconds.
Okay. And in the meantime, okay. It's okay?
Well, yes, perfect. So, I'm Quentin, you can say it's how you want. I'm a Web3 developer. I used to be a mobile developer, and then I switched to Web3 development 3 years ago, just after the last bull run. So I haven't seen any bull run. A bit sad. And I started to project on MultiversX autoscale yield optimizer. We will talk a bit later about it.
Yes, I have a question about it, of course.
We will talk about it, no problem. And I also created some open sources projects. I created X Network, a tool to create some testnets locally on your computers. I created NovaX, a framework to create your backends, all-in-one tools in it. I created some wrappers also around some tools of MultiversX, and I'm currently creating the Swift contract framework to create smart contracts with Swift, and I will talk a bit later about it.
Mm-hmm. And how did you discover MultiversX, and why did you decide to involve in this kind of system and another one?
Totally randomly. I was just looking for the crypto space, just how the blockchain works, etc. And I was totally charmed by the user experience provided by MultiversX. I'm one of those guys that I don't really consider a product good if the product has not the best user experience. This is the main criteria. I prefer a good UX than a fully working product. See, this is the mentality I had when I built Autoscale, and this is the mentality I will always have when I will build my future products and the Swift contract framework. And what MultiversX did is really great about this. You know, we have export type, we have the guardians, we have so much tools that are so easy to use, and this is really the point to have one day. I don't want to say mass adoption. I don't like telling this, but having a technology that can be used by anyone.
Okay, so it was about maybe Maya wallet and all the core products. Yeah,
totally. The whole product, the whole ecosystem, but also the technology, the MultiversX technology itself. I'm a developer that gives you some flexibility you don't necessarily have and add at this time as well.
Okay, so let's start maybe by Autoscale news, and after we will deep dive in what you're doing with the we can say SDK WebAssembly SDK project. So what's can you explain in a few words what is Autoscale? And we learned that the founder recently stepped down. And there has been some uncertainty about around the project's direction. So can you give us an update on the current state of Autoscale after explaining in a few words what was supposed to be?
Okay, yes. So Autoscale is a yield optimizer. So basically, we want to provide yield strategies to optimize on the current yield of some protocols. For example, we can have a strategy that auto compound your rewards on Hatom. We can have a lot of things, strategies that's borrow, that's led, etc., just to optimize the existing yields. The state of the project, it's almost finished. We have a working front end, we have a working back end, we have a working smart contracts. We did the first phase of the audit. We need to do a second phase, but the first phase is done. We can technically now I can push the button to deploy the protocol.
Okay, do it!
Yes, let's go. No, I can't. Technically I can, but I won't do that. And as you said, Robin, our CEO, just stopped working in the crypto industry. And therefore we are looking for a new CEO to replace him. A new CEO, a new investor. I don't really know, but there were some discussions, and this take a lot of time because we want someone which is aligned with our objectives, with our vision that just fits with the current team. Yes, we have a discussion. It takes time, and also what we want us for the projects. It may be the best time to think about the future of the project. So there is a lot of discussions. I can't tell you more now. I hope I will be able to let you know more in the future. But I don't have any dates. It's a bit sad for me. I would love to just push this button, but it's not the best time to do that.
Okay, this is something that we hear often on MultiversX, waiting for better days to launch.
Yes, but it's not really about the liquidity or anything else. You know, we optimize things. So even if if the optimization allow users to have 1% more, we can deploy the project. Technically, it costs us nothing. We don't need the best market conditions, you know. It's a bit different with some other project that stopped working on Multiverse.
I was just kidding. Okay, thank you, Quentin, for this. Let's deep dive into what you are like building at the moment. So first of all, can you explain in simple terms what is MX SDK AS? And can you explain us what are you doing?
Yeah, I will start by giving you some context.
Thank you.
Currently, if you want to create smart contracts on MultiversX, you have to learn a programming language called Rust. Rust is a very famous programming language, one of the most loved programming language by developers, but it has one really big cons. It is one of the most favorite language by the program developer, but it's also one of the most difficult to learn. Rust is really super difficult to learn. If you want to start learning Rust, you have to be either already a developer or being someone super motivated. This is an issue.
Like you.
Yes, but I'm passionate.
That's
I'm
what you
passionate about development, so of course I'm motivated. The issue about this is that almost all people that start to work in the Web3 industry are not really motivated. They just want to try something new, just see how it works. And they don't, at first, almost no one has big plans. I want to do this big project. Usually new developers just don't know about crypto, about blockchain, and they just want to discover. And Rust really deters them to build. I heard the same thing even on Solana. On Solana, it's also Rust. And I heard a lot of developers that just didn't come in Solana because of Rust. Because Rust is too hard to learn. Once you learn Rust, everything becomes fantastic. But there is this wall to climb. The idea with my framework, and it's also based on MultiversX. Okay, I will give you some more context. MultiversX, it's not really Rust. You may have heard of WebAssembly. WebAssembly is like some machine codes that can be run on any computer. Your internet browser uses WebAssembly, and the MultiversX virtual machine, the one used for execution of smart contracts, uses WebAssembly. And any language that can be turned into WebAssembly is technically compatible with MultiversX. Rust can be turned into WebAssembly, so it is compatible with MultiversX. It's very low level, so you have to speak very close to the processor, and it's a bit hard. That's why people create some frameworks. A framework is a wrapper around this complexity, this low-level complexity, this processor complexity, to make the developers to code with high-level objects. And when I say high-level, I say some abstraction, and to turn complex processor things to things that are really intuitive, really close to the real world. For example, something low level, we have something that we call in programming string. String can be sentence. It's something writing. It could be English. It could be anything. This doesn't exist on processor. On processor, it's about 0, it's about 1, it's about maybe hexadecimal. It's just about numbers. But now I can write sentences in my processor. And when I do some high level abstraction, I create this way to easily write some text to the processor. For the framework that I'm building, it's almost the same. I take from a framework, any framework, even in Rust, it's roughly the same. For example, the MultiversX Rust framework to build smart contracts in Rust wrap around the complexity of WebAssembly of the processor to provide the developers some easy tools to create and interact with smart contracts. And as of now, there were not a lot of programming language that were able to be turned into WebAssembly. There is currently Rust, Go, C, and that's it. And with the next big major release of Swift, it will be possible to turn it to WebAssembly. The next major release is expected this month. And I saw that and I say, oh, I had a fantastic idea. Let's create a framework to write smart contracts in Swift. What is Swift? A programming language, of course, but it's a programming language created by Apple at the first time for the Apple ecosystem, but now it's compatible with almost anywhere in the informatics industry. It is really used to create mobile application. It is used by more than 2 million of developers, and it has been made to be easy to learn, really easy to learn. Apple provided a lot of educational materials, a lot of tutorials, even tutorials for kids. That's worth to mention it. If you have a Mac or an iPad, you can go on the App Store and download the application Swift Playgrounds. It's a tutorial to learn Swift if you're not a developer, and as if you were a kid. It's really, I tried it, I was amazed. It was okay, this is so easy. And I started to build a framework with a beta version of Swift. And I finally have a minimal viable product. I hope to make public in the next months. I'm currently doing some tests, etc., improving the documentation, because of course I have to do some documentation, etc. And the framework, we have multiple capabilities. First, we'll be able to create smart contracts.
So first, now I think my question was, what is it? And you answered perfectly, so thank you very much. Before we deep dive, who will be able to use it and what for? Can you explain how did you start this project? Did you decide to launch yourself by your own, or was it something that the core team asked for? And who's financing it? Because you're working on it for hours a day. So what's behind the scene?
I told a lot of people about this, but I received some financial support from the MultiversX Foundation. I'm not an employee. I'm not a freelancer. I got a grant to work on all my open source projects. And the Swift contract framework was not expected by MultiversX. They just asked me to see if there is something to do with, not really Swift, but just to show, because in the past I had done a proof of concept of a way to turn TypeScript, very well known programming language used is the web industry, and to turn this language to WebAssembly. I succeeded to do that, but it won't never be able to be production ready. But we can technically do this. And they just wanted to see if there is, not necessarily now, but in the future, if something's preparation. So I just looked, and by chance, Swift was about to be this language, and I had 4 years of Swift experience, because I was an iOS developer before being in the Web3 industry. So this is totally randomly, and I choose on myself to work on it. It's not the MultiversX team that told me, hey, continue, have to work on it.
Okay, so you're free, and it's interesting. Okay, so let's deep dive in the project understanding, and which developers benefits most from your work? Is it aimed for big beginners, smart contract experts, and who will be able to use it? What's the target of what you're building?
So my goal is to create a framework. As I said, I'm one of those people that want something UX. I want the best user experience. So I'm targeting first the beginners. But the Swift framework, I made everything I could to make it interoperable with the Rust framework. So if you create a Swift contract, you can interact with a Rust contract, and a Rust contract will be able to interact with the Swift contract. So we can, any developers can benefit of the Swift framework, even a well-experimented developer. But I'm targeting in my documentations, in the way I present the framework, I really want to target on a marketing point of view, the beginners, the one that has never been into Web3 development, or the one that are just not developers at all. This is my marketing target. But of course, I build the framework so anyone, even experienced developers, can use it. I plan a lot of tools for anyone. I'm building the whole documentation. At the first time, it will only be some getting started tutorials, so more for beginners. But I plan to do more super technical documentation in the second time to bring almost all of the developers into the framework. And you asked me about who, but which kind also of developers. At the first time, the Swift Contract framework, I only plan to make them able to build smart contracts. But in the second time, I will plan to add some backends modules and frontends modules. Frontends is the GApe, the visual part of the GApe, and the backend is the server part of the GApe. And in the very, very long term, it can take 1-2 years, maybe more. I plan to add backends and frontends parts. So when you code your smart contract, you can code with the same language in the same environments. You can create your whole protocol. So it will in the long term benefits to all developers, front end, back end, smart contract, beginners, etc. Even so, in the first time, I'm targeting beginners.
Okay, for sure, Joaquim, you are a developer as well. If you have any question or want to say anything, feel free to intervene. And Arno, I don't know if you know this topic, which I discover when we speak. What's the advantages of assembly script over other language like Rust, Solidity, and so forth?
First, WebAssembly is not a language. It's really machine code, like 0, 1, etc. That a programming language can be turned into. When I say turned, the right term, the right word is compiled.
The language is a Swift?
The language is Swift. And
okay. So it's clear now.
Yes. And when we code in Swift, we turn it into the machine code in WebAssembly, which is run by the MultiversX virtual machine. The advantage of WebAssembly, it will be for me a game changer, not only on the blockchain industry, but on the whole coding industry. It's first that it's super generic. Your internet browser uses it, but it's also super fast. The WebAssembly standards, which are WebAssembly, has not been created by MultiversX. Okay, it's just WebAssembly is created by almost all developers in these industries. There is a lot of debates. There had some dramas, even dramas about how to build this technology. It's really a technology apart. And it has been made to be generic but super fast, and to work, to be able to have the same performance as if you were running some how can I say that easily? Some other language very close to the processor. If Even if you're not a developer, you may have heard about pointers and those things super hard to understand, but which are really close to the processor, so really fast because you don't have to translate everything to get out of the abstraction, etc. And this WebAssembly has been made to be as fast while being generic. Because before WebAssembly, if you wanted to have a lot of performance, and not only of the blockchain industry, any program, and you have to target the processor. You have to code with a language that the processor directly understands. Those languages are absolutely horrible to code with. But you also have to target each processor is different. The processor of a Mac is different from a processor of a Windows. You know, Apple just released 3 or 4 years ago new processors. Windows, they are also releasing a new processor. On a Raspberry Pi, a Raspberry Pi is a computer which has the size of a credit card. This is another processor. So if you want to be super fast, you have to target all those processors. You have to make some code for specific, it becomes super hard. And WebAssembly aims to fix that. And it fits super well with the blockchain industry, because what do we want in the blockchain industry? We want the possibility to create nodes with super cheap computers. We want a technology which is easy to be accessed. So a technology that can be used by almost anyone. This is the ethos, the ethos of the blockchain, to be accessible, and this is the only guarantee that we can hope one day to have decentralization. I hope I answered to your question.
Yes. Thank you very much. What about the community contribution? Are you working alone on this topic, or do you receive contributions from the open source community, the MultiversX community? And how important is this for the project?
Yep. Before the first release, the code currently is private, so it's not open source, but I plan to open source it the first day when I will release it. After that, I hope I will receive some contribution, from previous framework, NovaX, which I'm still working on. So I said before that NovaX is a backend tool in Rust, only one backend tool to create anything you want, related to MultiversX, and the backend. And I received some contributions. To be honest, I prefer, spending 10 hours to help someone to make a contribution than doing the contribution myself in 1 hour. I think the strength of open source is the community, is the fact that anyone can read the code, find maybe some security issues, correct them, or just propose new features, maybe fix some things, or just debate about, okay, this feature is like that, but it will be better to know maybe this way, so I will do everything I can do to onboard developers into this journey. Yeah.
Okay. Yesterday we learned that MultiversX has finally been integrated into Axelar in DevNet.
Yep.
Which is, in my opinion, an important step
Sure.
towards the
Absolutely.
interoperability that MultiversX sorely lacks. What do you think about it? And is your work moving in the direction of a greater interoperability?
Interoperability. Let's be honest, and there will never be a world where there is only one blockchain. It's an utopia, because it's like almost anything. You can be perfect. You can't be perfect everywhere. Each blockchain will will have their strengths. In some industry, we just don't care about decentralization. So if you don't have decentralization, you can have super performance. And in some industry, we just don't care about the performance, the block time, etc. We just want something very decentralized. It's, for example, Bitcoin. Personally, I don't care that my transaction takes, I don't know how much time, a lot of times to do a transaction. I don't care. What I want with Bitcoin is that it's decentralized. And when I have Bitcoin, I have the safety with decentralization. And yes, so in this context, if you want to exist, you have to be interoperable, with all the other blockchains. You have to create bridges. You have to have some partnerships. This is needed. There is no debates. I don't know why there is some debates about it. About Axelar, I didn't delve a lot in it, so I don't know exactly how it works. I just have an overview of it. It is very interesting as the fact that you can code one protocol and deploy it on each blockchain supported by Axelar. It's super interesting, and this is one of the best thing we can have for MultiversX with some native stablecoins. We need to mention it.
Just before Arno, my second part of the question is your work it will be interesting, and in what terms? In terms of interoperability. I mean, just to explain to people, will your work lead to a better interoperability of MultiversX, and in what extent?
Yeah.
And after Arno.
I told you just before that the Swift framework will be compatible with the Rust framework. Actually, the Swift framework will be compatible with the Space Virtual Machine. The Space Virtual Machine is a virtual machine used by MultiversX. But it means that any blockchain, any language that uses the Space Virtual Machine, you will be able to use my framework to build the same contract without changing any line of code. For example, the future sovereign chain, Onefinity, will use the Space Virtual Machine. So you will be able to create smart contracts in Swift, make them, of course, interoperable with Rust. But Onefinity is also an EVM chain, and they just announced that EVM and Space VM on the Onefinity chain will be interoperable. So technically, you will be able to write a Swift smart contract and interact with Solidity smart contract, with Rust smart contract, and Rust smart contract will be able to interact with Swift smart contract, Solidity smart contract, and Solidity smart contract will be able to interact with Swift smart contracts and Rust smart contracts. So I'm not targeting a blockchain. I'm targeting a specific virtual machine. And when for any blockchain that will support or will be interoperable with another blockchain, with this specific virtual machine, you will be able to use my framework. And this is something really big, but it depends of the ability of the sovereign chains, of the Space Virtual Machine to be accepted in the industry, crypto industry.
Okay. Arno?
Yes, I wanted to double down on what Quentin said about the fact we're moving towards the convergence, a unified space between all blockchains, but this takes a lot of time because when you're building on a specific blockchain, you have to comply with the logic of building on this blockchain. So this is already a choice. When you want to become interoperable, it's not magic. You don't have Axelar or CCIP or layer 0. They don't come and just plug on your product and then boom, you become interoperable. It's way more complex than this, because all those interoperability solutions, think of them as another layer of logic. So you need to comply with their logic on top of compiling with your own logic. So sometimes to comply with interoperability layers, you need to change your product, and not just change it in the surface. You need to change it down to its core sometimes. So for products that are already existing, already having a technical depth because they have been live for years, being interoperable means a very hard shift deep down into their technical foundations. And so when on the table you have different interoperability solutions with different logics, you have to make a choice. And then it becomes the same choice as, okay, on which blockchain do we deploy right from the start? So I can't stress this enough. Interoperability between blockchains is a super hard topic technical wise. It's very hard trade-offs for builders, because it's not a magical button that you just push on and then you become interoperable with another blockchain ecosystem. You have to sometimes change your product deep down, and you're not even sure if this interoperability solution is the best one, because they all have differences. Some are faster than others, some are more decentralized. So it's really hard. And I'm speaking from, what I see when I'm hearing the tech team from Seoul, assessing those different interoperability solutions. So it will take years. There's not a magical button. It will take years. And we're just at the beginning.
It's an endless journey. Really. Just to add more about it, imagine, and not really imagine, but it is how it works. Every blockchain has different features. On MultiversX, you have some native assets. On EVM, you don't have those. On EVM, you can do some relay transaction. No, on MultiversX, you can, but in the past, it wasn't as developed as of now. And if you want to be interoperable, how do you manage those features that exists on one blockchain but not another one? And this is all the jobs of the interoperability solution. There is no natural way to do that. Sometimes the missing features are so specific that the interoperability solution just may say, okay, if you want to use our solution, you just have to not use this feature. If you use the feature, it won't work. But some interoperability solution will create some bridge. If you want to use this feature, we created something, a workaround on the other blockchain, so it's similar. And the workaround is not natural, so because one workaround may be more centralized, one workaround may be more efficient. So each interoperability solution may have his way to do the things or to not do the things. And there is a lot of debates. There is nothing natural in bridging ecosystem. That's why there is so many interoperability solutions, and that's why it's really an endless journey. And it's impossible to have the perfect solution.
Okay, you told us previously that you plan to release your work in the next month, correct?
Yeah, I planned first for the Seoul xDay, but yes,
we will speak about it later.
Yeah. So I will just say next month.
Munich.
I am Munich, but I don't. It's RW.
Yes, the topic will be RWA.
So I don't know if my framework will suit this. I will know, but the next month. If it's not at the xDay, I will publish it the next month.
Okay, what will be your next steps in this work when it's released? To continue to improve your work, maybe to try to sell your work to projects. When I say sell, I'm not saying you will earn money with it. I'm saying you will try to convince project to adopt it. Okay, I want to be precise. So what's your next steps about this after 1 year of work or less? How long have you been working on it?
I started very, very recently. I was super productive. I started in May.
Oh, okay. So it's pretty recent. Okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
what's your next steps?
A lot of nights working on it. The next step is to make it production ready. Currently, the framework is not tested, you know. I don't remember which protocol. Is it Harvey? Which has been hacked because the framework they build their contract with
was Compound.
Compound, yeah. Yes. It's Compound on Viper. I remember a framework, a language to build a contract in Python, similar to Python, not really Python, but similar to Python. And it has vulnerability, which made a lot of funds to disappear. So now I will just publish a Swift framework without any guarantee. There is no guarantee. It has not been really well tested. It just so you can try it, give me some feedbacks. I will make the first month to take all feedbacks and improve a lot the user experience. I won't add new features. I won't add the new shiny things. No. I will just take the feedbacks, improve the existing features, improve the documentation, fix some things, etc. Then the second step will be to test a lot the framework. To test, to audit it, and to make sure it's safe to use for productions. So in a way that maybe we can build a protocol like Autoscale, like Hatom, using this framework. And then the next step is to add features, is to start to create the backend and the front-end modules. This is the step for the technical parts. And of course, for the marketing parts, I first want to, as I say, to target beginners. So I will first target individuals. And once the testing and the audit is done, I will start to try to bring some companies into it, etc. And for those who are asking, no, I can't sell the Swift framework because it is open source. So anyone has the code. There is some license, but it's not copyright. It's technically copyleft in a way that anyone can use the code, copy the code, create a framework with this code, but they cannot do it for a commercial reason. Only.
Okay.
But you can use the framework. You can use the framework itself to create commercial products. But if you want to create a framework which is derived from the base framework, the new framework should be also open source. This is a license.
Okay. So I put the link of your GitHub on the comment section, and I just pinned it. Yes, okay. I have it. Perfect. I have everything.
Awesome.
So, first of all, thank you very much for taking the time
to
come this morning to explain. And we will finish by maybe a call to the community. How can interested developers, individuals, and so forth contribute or get involved with your project? What's the best way to contact you and maybe to help you?
So as I said, I prefer to spend 10 more times to guide people to contribute on my project than doing the work myself. I already did it, for example, on NovaX, the Rust framework. So if anyone wants to make some progresses in Rust, in Rust, because the SU framework is not public yet. But for Rust, you can, if you want to contribute on NovaX, just drop me a message on Twitter, or on Telegram. Telegram, the same tag than Twitter. And you just ask me, I'm a developer that has some knowledge in Rust, but I want to make some progress. Just let me know. I have a lot of ideas for NovaX. I can guide you, with the language, in the projects. I can give you some small tasks or hard tasks, anything. Just let me know. And on any other projects on my GitHub, if you see a project where you want to contribute, just let me know. And for the future Swift frameworks, it will be the same.
Okay, thank you very much again, Quentin. Good luck for the remaining work about this. And of course, come back on GM
Sure.
Web3 MultiversX whenever you want
With
to
pleasure.
keep us updated.
Yeah, sure. And good luck also for your hard work. You do a lot of podcasts. You're so busy, man. It's really
Thank you very
awesome to
much.
see that.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. You can stay with us if you can, and if you can't, of course, we wish you all the best and
Thanks.
have
I
a
will have
very
to
good
go.
day.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. So before we move on to the next guest, Andy Puskas, the co-founder of Burnify, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Globies, the low-cost eco-responsible vacation rental platform. It offers you $25 in their token, the B token. By the way, they just launched their platform, and you can already list all of your apartments and houses for free, and you can also book your next rentals for free too until the December 21st, 2024. So until the end of the year. So if you want to help this MultiversX based rental location platform, go list your apartment and houses for free. And to take part of the giveaway, same rule. Just need to tweet the tweet of the space and tell us how much you love us. I pinned the link of Globies on the comment section, so you can go directly to their platform. And we will start the interview with our second guest of the day, and it is Andy Puskas. Andy is connecting at the moment. I don't know if you guys have already used Burnify platform, or if you know it. It's Arno Joaquim. I don't know if you.
You know what? I know it, of course, because we've talked about it many times, but I've actually never used it. And I feel ashamed about it.
Really?
No, but really, sometimes, I love the builders in the MultiversX ecosystem, and Burnify is really a cool use case. And it's something so specific to blockchain. I'm bullish on things that only the blockchain can do. And Burnify is using a special power of the blockchain to do something cool. And I feel ashamed that I've never used it. So I will do it as soon as possible.
Yeah, the point of this burning token platform is to reduce the supply of the ESDT tokens. I'm trying to give him the mic. I hope it will work. Try with again or with your computer. So the point is to reduce the supply of the USDT tokens and to gamify this and to incentivize people to burn their token. And they created a whole ecosystem around burning. So it will be interesting because the protocol is 1 year old now. So to try to understand what they did and what they plan to do in the future. I hope I will be able to invite Andy, but it doesn't work for now. So if it doesn't work, we will maybe speak about xDay discussion, and after we will receive Andy. It's not a problem. But we need to do something because we cannot stay like this. So let's speak about xDay.
Yeah,
And
hopefully.
Andy, if you can hear us, of course, try again, and we will manage to give you the mic before the end of the Twitter space. So let's speak about xDay, Joaquim and Arno, and you guys from the audience, of course, feel free to give us your oh, Andy, it's working?
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, it's working. Perfect. I was about to change the program of today, but it's okay if you hear. We can have this discussion together. So Andy, what's up? How are you?
GM, welcome, and I'm glad to be here, and I'm sorry for the technical issues. I tried to join from the PC and phone, and everything was not working. How are you guys?
Yeah, we are very good. Very good. Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you. And thank you for the support of GM Web3 MultiversX. I remind everyone that you are a sponsor of the show, last week, and it will be the case, I think, in 1 or 2 weeks. I don't remember, but you're supporting us, and thanks a lot for this. Means a lot. So, Andy, can you, just quickly, make us an overview of Burnify protocol? What is it, and what's the aim of this project you launched a little bit more than 1 year ago?
Yeah, thank you, GRM. I hope I can convince Arno to try Burnify, as I heard that he wasn't so far. So
You don't have to convince me. I'm just so bad. There's no excuses.
yo, no worries. I'm sure this will change your mind probably. Thank you for your questions, guys. Thank you for offering us the opportunity. And no worries for the sponsorship. We know you put a lot of work into those spaces, and I know that it is required on MultiversX and in the crypto space, and we love to hear it. Okay, let's dive into Burnify as short as possible. As you guys already said, it's a gamified approach of the token burning. We started it one and some months ago, 1 year and some months ago, and we started from the max issue with the tokenomics that we saw at the moment, and we thought of how could we do something about it, but in the same time to actually provide value for the community. And that's how basically Burnify was born, from the idea of let's burn some tokens in a gamified approach that the community can actually join. And going further, developing on this idea, we ended up on creating a project that's gamified between the projects themselves and the communities. The main idea was that the burning of tokens for inflation reasons and whatnot was happening from token treasuries, and we know that those funds were good to be burned, and they could fix some of the issues from the inflation of a project, but they couldn't fix everything. So we started Burnify with this idea, this mission, and let's go forward with it. That was our main goal back in the day. After we started building on it, we got a lot of feedback from big builders around the ecosystem. We had Javier from JX, the guys from X Launcher, and lots of other people that actually helped us with refining our concept. They also came up with a lot of new features that we actually ended up implementing. And to give you a short version of how Burnify works, you come, you put some tokens and EGLD in the same amount, and then you just burn them. After that, for this action, you will get our token, BFY, and it's gonna be a token that we like and love to call a proof of burn token, because every token in existence exists only because somebody once burned. And by having this token into staking into Burnify, you're getting EGLD rewards over time as long as you have those tokens into staking. So that's kind of about it, how Burnify works in small terms and in short notice. Obviously, we have a lot of more features around it. Some of the features are smaller, like swap and burn. You don't have to actually have the tokens into your wallet. You can just put the EGLD, and some part of it will be converted into the token of your choosing. And some are bigger in terms of features, like we have the discounted and the boosted tokens. Those are created obviously we created those to emphasize the aspect that the projects themselves can actually contribute to the ecosystem and try to incentivize their communities, because every community member that wants to burn one token can do themselves, but the projects can incentivize them by boosting a token, so they give extra rewards for people that are burning their tokens, or the discount module that happens in the same aspect, that a user can burn a specific token, but some of the tokens are not being burned from his wallet, or he has to put the EGLD rather than from a discount buffer that the project itself puts
Okay, Andy,
down.
but please, yeah,
Jerem, I have a question
go
for
ahead.
Andy, if
Please.
I may. Andy, this is a genuine question that I ask myself. How do you burn the supply of a token that you don't own? You guys, you understand my question?
Yeah. On MultiversX, there are multiple ways. The first burn, it's a kind of a virtual one that you send the tokens to the burn dead wallet. There is this dead wallet from the start of the MultiversX, and those tokens don't actually go down from the supply of the token. They're just inaccessible. So that's why I said it's a virtual.
So it's a jail.
Yeah, somehow like
it's
that.
A prison.
Yeah, I had this example always, that you're taking $1 million in cash and you're putting it to a submarine and you're getting it to the Mariana Trench. They're there, they exist, but they're not accessible by anyone. And the second one is on chain. It's straight up burning on chain, and you can, that's a rather technical aspect of it, but doing the proper burn actually reduces the supply of a token. And we as a project have to have the burn role for older tokens, because older tokens had to give us access for this particular use case to our smart contract to have access to burn the tokens. But in newer, I suppose in newer times, but I don't remember the date, the newer tokens are being created with the burn for all property, and everybody can burn basically. So we don't need a specific access for that. But it's not something that we do. We do it in the background. Anybody and any user that wants to burn has to put the tokens into our smart contract, and it handles the burning. But it's not something that we do in terms of, I'm going to buy your token and just burn it for the sake of it.
Yes. Okay. And so a second follow-up question, because maybe some people here would like to understand, you briefly touched upon it, but let's try to make it super clear. I'm a potential user of Burnify. How could I profit? Like, why should I look to burn tokens besides being a crazy pyromancer?
Well, that's the main reason, because our whole community is
Oh,
a crazy pyromancer, and we make a lot of
that's true.
jokes.
Burning stuff is cool.
Yeah. It is, but it also can be beneficial for multiple reasons. One of the reasons is that, as I said previously, and as you mentioned, the inflation of a project can benefit from this. And we had lots of different simulations and calculations done in the past for different tokens, but I wouldn't touch on that currently, because some of them are not as accurate as possible right now, because we don't keep track of that every moment. But other than that, you can benefit from it, one, by helping the project, because you as a user can burn some tokens and you're helping the project by reducing the supply, and two, by actually getting rewards. So one of the beautiful parts of Burnify was that it was a gamified approach that everybody can benefit in their own terms. And from what we discovered, because obviously we wouldn't know everything from the start, we discovered at the start of the project and in the first months that our users and our community members that are from the start with us are having entire calculations made up and entire spreadsheets with how much you have to burn to get this amount of BFY, and if this is the amount of burned tokens today, how much rewards will I get, and everything like that. But most of the important aspects of Burnify would be accessible by going to the stats page. There's the big button in the menu, and you can see.
And could you do like a basic example? Let's say that I want to burn, like use the token that you want, but just so we can have an idea in numbers, if you could.
I will try to use our token, then BFY. On my screen, on my PC, I have Burnify opened, and in the burn tab, you can see that BFY can be selected from the drop-down menu, and you see the concept of batches. One batch, we decided upon the smallest amount of burnt tokens that you can do is one batch, and that for now is 0.015 EGLD, and the same value in the token of your choosing. Right now, going into Burnify and seeing what the price of Burnify is, I'm seeing that one batch is 0.015 EGLD and 3.45 BFY. And also on the burn page, you can see the rewards of this cycle, but this is currently not at the end of the cycle. If you're burning as much tokens as you want in terms of number of batches, you can go into the stats page and see all your details, and that's why I said everything is transparent and you can do your calculations. You see how many BFY will be minted this cycle. So those will be minted and will be the proof of burn tokens for today. Those will get distributed to every batch there is. So let's say you do, for your example, Arno, you're doing 10 batches. You can see in the total details part of the stats page, there are currently 254 batches. In regards to the proportionality, most of the things in Burnify happens particularly proportional. Those 4,253 BFY will be distributed equally to those batches. If the cycle would have to end right now, you'll be able to calculate very easily that 4,253 divided by 254 would be 16 BFY per batch. And you can multiply that by your, obviously your number of batches. That's the BFY you get, and you get it automatically staked into our app. In the rewards page, you will see how much BFY you're getting at stake, but they are not locked. That's one aspect that we loved to obviously mention every time, because you're getting them staked, but you can unstake them and sell and do peer-to-peer market or whatever you want. We didn't want from the start to block users to lock funds from the start or have vest periods or something like that. And then By having those BFI into staking, you'll be able to see how much EGLD in percentages you're getting each cycle. If you then go back to the stats page, further down the line, there is the total batch number for this cycle and also your reward power in a percentage. So that reward power, let's say you have 1.2% reward power, that's your tokens at staking out of all the tokens at staking, all the BFI at staking. And that 1.2% in reward power you will get from every cycle that you're keeping the token staked. Does it make sense for you, Arno? Is it clear now?
I need an explanation video.
There is one, and I can send it to you.
Awesome. Do send it to me in DM so I can pin it also in the chat for everybody to have a look at it. It's not you. I'm the kind of person when things get with percentages, and I need something visual.
Yeah.
So
I get it. My only goal for this was to make the guidelines of how Burnify works in broader terms, because obviously when you're getting into the needs and crannies of it, and we also discovered this going further, it was simple for us because obviously we created it and we thought about everything, but some of the users in the first weeks were confused as you are right now, and how can you calculate? But that's one aspect that I have to mention. You can't calculate precisely in each moment because you can't know and predict the future how many people will burn and how much amount of tokens, obviously. In the stats page, you also see there's 6 hours and 40 minutes left for this cycle. I said the total batches amount for this particular moment if it were to close right now. But obviously people can burn more, and you can make a prediction. You can't make specific aspects how much BFI you will get for 10 batches right now. You can make assumptions based on previous cycles, and on our Telegram group, for instance, we have stats for each cycle so far, how many batches were there burned, how much tokens, which tokens, at what price and whatnot. So you can make predictions, but it's not fixed APR, let's call it. And we also can't put a fixed APR from legal reasons. And we discuss this with our community always, because everybody obviously asks what the APR and whatnot. And we can't give a number because it obviously changes with the community and the activity.
Yeah. And so there's always a question when you're doing DeFi, where does the yield come from? So I understand from what you explained that part of it must come from the EGLD that you attach to the token that you're going to burn, correct?
Yes. All of it comes from that.
Okay.
So all the EGLD.
All of it comes from that.
All the EGLD that users are putting as a collateral, let's call it, is getting into a reward pool. And those EGLD gets distributed in three parts, actually. 90% of it goes to all the BFY stakers. So if you go to the stats page, you'll see that currently there are 2.67 million BFI staked. So 90% of every EGLD put into the protocol goes to those BFI staked, and again, proportionally. 5% is for protocol fees, so that's our only source of revenue, let's say, as a project. And 5% were put into, are distributed to our Bufu holders. That's our NFT series we launched last year in October. And it was kind of a bootstrapped approach that we wanted to take to raise some funds to use for liquidity, obviously, because we had some issues with liquidity at the first and the start of the project, then to pay for legal aspects, for legal team, for audits, and other things that we couldn't do in-house, like new design that's coming for Burnify, for instance.
Okay, so that's why you can't predict, of course, because maybe today there's a lot of burning that happens, so there's proportionally to that burning some EGLD that is coming next to it, but maybe tomorrow it's less. That's right?
Yeah, Precisely. It can go up and down, and it does do that in terms of batch numbers and how many tokens are burned each day.
Okay. Quick idea here for you. I'm going to so let's just think in the open. What if you used this EGLD that comes next to each burn, and you liquid staked it on Hatom? So that would be a collateral that would grow every day with the burn. With this, you could borrow EGLD on Hatom. Between liquid staked Hatom and EGLD borrow, there is currently a 4% difference positively in APY. So meaning that the liquid staking rewards would pay for the borrowing of the EGLD plus generate a 4% on top. So meaning that you could have a positive loop of rewards that would grow every day as you would add more. And you could distribute more rewards every day growing to your BFY holders. And as long as this keeps profitable, and since the launch of Hatom, this is a very positive loop for you, as the rewards would keep growing day after day.
I have a complex answer here. One is the legal aspect, and the second one is the complexity of it. As Burnify works in cycles of 24 hours, it would be quite complex to do this each day, because we obviously would have to use all the funds that all the EGLD that everybody puts as an collateral, but you can't have all the EGLD at the start of the cycle, and you'll end up with people that are putting the EGLD and burning, like, let's say 1 or 2 hours afterwards. But obviously at the end of the cycle, you have to distribute the rewards and you'll have to get the funds out. So it's complex, and it doesn't have much, it couldn't make sense because we thought of it as well. But it would be quite complex on the gas fees, as well as a lot of going back and forth from the smart contract. The smart contract is rather fixed right now, and it does the same action over and over again. And it's also audited. And by doing this move, we'll have to have another audit on the smart contract part. And the second one is the legal aspect, because what you're saying right now is to use the funds of everybody that put it as a collateral, but those funds are not ours, as especially the 95% that's distributed to the BFY and Bufu stakers. They're theirs, and this would be a legal problem for everybody, because we can't use them to juggle around it in the background, let's say, and just distribute them afterwards, like after the cycle changes. It's, from our part, it was something like
How does the governance of Burnify happens? Like, are you guys making all the decisions, or is it there's a BFY vote?
We have a DAO, yeah. I just wanted to mention one thing, that for that aspect that you had as an idea, we thought of it as an FTX kind of thing, going further and further, but it has to stop somewhere. So legally, we can't do that. We have a governance.
No, there's not an FTX.
I just want to mention that I have 2 questions from the audience I really would like to ask before noon.
Yes.
So no, it's okay. I will let Andy, finish about your very interesting questions. But I just need maybe 2 or maybe 3 or 4 minutes before noon. So I'll let you finish, guys. No problem.
Yep. We have a DAO governance on PeerMe, but we used it in decisions, broader decisions. We wanted to use it to list particular or specific tokens, but that didn't work so far, and in very big terms. We tried to do that with tokens, but obviously people wouldn't, and our users wouldn't want to unstake their tokens. We also had work to do with PeerMe, and we actually did end up by letting people use their stake tokens so they don't have to unstake, so lose rewards and whatnot for voting purposes. but it wasn't such I don't think very well received would be the term, but very active. We tried to do decisions with the community, but we were transparent, and we always asked the community and let everyone know on our Telegram group and whatnot what we are doing, what do
Okay.
they think, if they have feedback and whatnot.
Thank you. Very clear. Thank you very much. So 2 questions, please, answer, short if you can. I will just read them. How did you come up with the idea of integrating your protocol with JackChange, to create the swap and burn feature? This is the most powerful feature of your protocol and contributes to the creation of an integrated ecosystem. That's the first question, and it's a very nice question. You will see the second one will not be that nice, so profit of it.
The first question is rather simple. As I stated before, we talked with Javier and he provided us with a lot of good feedback in the early stage of Burnify. And also it was requested by our community. Lots of people from the start had precisely this idea. But I don't have, let's say, Hatom or let's say Max or whatnot. I want to burn them. How could I? Well, you could go on X Exchange or Wandex and Jax and whatnot, swap them and come back to burn. But how can we implement this automatically? And it was straightforward thinking to just implement it automatically. So I hope it was short.
Okay, yeah, it was perfect. The second question is about the burn. So, if no one burns in a round, then there are no more rewards for those who burned in previous rounds. Isn't this rewarding of the first entrance with the money of the new entrants the definition of a Ponzi scheme?
Not particularly, because we debunked this Ponzi scheme aspect by a lot of times and by a lot of arguments. And the most important argument is that me and my colleagues could have just used the protocol between the three of us and got all the BFY in terms of rewards, but also to be a Ponzi scheme, because obviously everybody said that. To be a Ponzi scheme, you would have to have more rewards the earlier you were, but you're not getting more rewards like in a Ponzi scheme, like a referral program. You're having a lot of people from the get-go and you get every reward of it, because right now, today, I can go and burn. Let's go back to Arno's example. For those 200 something batches, if I go today and burn 2,000 batches, and that's quite cheap because the HLD price is cheap also right now, you could have a lot of BFY each cycle, and you'll be able to very quickly go to the same amount of BFY because it was deflationary. It gets less and less BFY minted, but also the batch numbers influences this. So if you're getting into the game, you can actually just surpass the reward power of everyone else very quickly. It doesn't have to be beneficial, and we saw a lot of people doing this actually in the background, and we heard from our community that some initial users actually got out of the project, and some newer users are getting and accumulating lots of BFY. It doesn't go in the Ponzi scheme as argument at all, because you can get the same reward power easier than the people from the start. And for instance, right now, the medium number of batches currently on those days are 1,700 or something like that, the medium. And in the early days, we had even 42,000. So I know the BFY is half, or maybe less than half, is 4,200. But in the first day, it was 10,000, and there were a lot more batches, even tens of times.
Thank you, Andy. Just maybe we don't have time, unfortunately, but you will come back because I would like, of course, maybe to explain the new mechanism with B-Fuel, a new token, but unfortunately we won't have time, to speak about it today. So I propose you to come back, in GM Web3 to explain this new mechanism. And I know that you want to offer some, B-Fuel token to, encourage people to try your platform. Okay?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, about that, it would be just very quickly, if somebody wants to actually try Burnify, we could provide them with some B-Fuel. That was our LP staking token. You can burn them, let's say, with a 100% discount, because you'll receive it and you'll see how much BFY you're getting, what are the rewards, and you can DM our Burnify account and with your address, and we can airdrop it to you.
okay. So, maybe they can, write you in GM, to know more and maybe to get some free, B-Fuel to, try the protocol.
Yep, precisely. And I just
Amazing.
wanted to take 30 seconds to also, because I know that was a big talk for us, at least, to talk about our future. We're currently talking to go multi-chain because we want to attract even more burned tokens. We know the solution works as we tested it on MultiversX, and we want to attract it, and we'll probably go further with, not probably, 100% go with the same tokenomics and with the same project going further. We're in
Okay.
talks with one chain, and we're going back and forth currently. And
Thank you,
also,
Andy. I'm
that's it.
sorry. We need to move forward. I'm
No
really,
problem.
really sorry. But it was a pleasure to have you, this morning, and your discussion with Arno was very interesting since, he never used, your protocol. And so he asked the question of, the majority of, the community. So thank you guys for this. And yeah, you
Thank
will
you too.
come back, Andy, to speak maybe, more about it, because I truly think your protocol is good, is useful to the ecosystem, and, your community is on fire always. So this is, something that we like on MultiversX projects.
He's been talking about this pun for 6 months.
I see. Thank you for your time, guys, and thank you for
Thank you
having
very
us.
much, Andy. Take care of yourself, and see you very later. So now I would like to have, a discussion about, xDay, and I know Arno cannot stay very, very long, so that's why I, wanted to, start this discussion as soon as possible. So just a reminder for everyone. xDay is the annual, MultiversX conference. The third edition was supposed to take place in Seoul, end of October. The two first editions was, in Paris and after in Bucharest. It's, in general, a very, very, very cool moment, very well organized, on which the community members, the developers, the builders, VCs, core team, KOLs, and so forth, are united in a location, in general, a very beautiful location. It was Palais Brongniart at the first edition in Paris. It was the Romanian Parliament, for the second edition, and it was supposed to be, in a very famous, island, near Seoul. I don't remember the name, but well, it's a very well-known place for conferences and so forth. So, well, actually, MultiversX announced that there will be some changes. So in 2 words, and after I will let, Arno and, everyone here who wants to take the mic to say their opinion about this. The main changes are xDay 2024 will be postponed to next year. It will not be in Seoul, but in Busan. I think I understood well this. So it will be in, South Korea, always, but not in Seoul. It will be by, I think it's March or April 2025. The reasons, they, gave is about, the situation of the market, but also big partners that was not like available for October, and other things that you can read on their press release. I will put you the link of the press release on the comment section. And the xDay 2024 will be replaced the same day. I think it's 30th of October by a new event, smaller, closer, and dedicated to a specific topic, which name will be xDay Satellite. And the initial xDay is rebranding as Global xDay. And this change is not just a change of name, it's also a change of model, because xDay was only about MultiversX for the two first editions, and the Global xDay will not be just about MultiversX. It will be about different ecosystems, blockchains, technologies, and so forth. So MultiversX, more than just being a blockchain, a wallet, a launchpad, an exchange, and so forth, now they are organizing Web3 conferences. So a new activity for the core foundation. So that's what I understood. And just to finish about this, so the xDay Satellite that will take place on 30th of October will take place in Munich, Germany, and will be dedicated to RWA. And so it will be like a compensation for people that wanted to be united, for the MultiversX community that wanted to be reunited on 2024. They organized this event to compensate the postponed on the xDay to 2025. So this is just a small reminder of the announcement. So maybe I forgot about something, so feel free to tell me in the comment, or to take your the mic to say it live. But first of all, there are two questions. First, what do you think about the change? Second, three questions. First, what do you think about this change? And second, what do you think about the crisis management, the communication? And third, what, according to you, is the impact outside of the ecosystem? So maybe, Arno, you want to start about this?
Yes. So I think I'm going to be super, blunt here. Whenever you have this decision coming out, as a person who was going to go to Seoul, the first feeling is shit. Like, what is this? You're mad, and then you're double mad because you're thinking about maybe the planes you booked. In my case, I had planes booked. And so even before, listening to what are the reasons why, you're already in a bad emotional state. So the first thing that I'm going to answer maybe several of your questions in a blow. One thing that MultiversX did well was acknowledging this by saying that there will be compensation solutions for people in this case. As soon as you take this off, this burden off the chest of the person who was going to Seoul or thinking of going to Seoul, then instantly, okay, the pain of the money spent can be resolved. And so then you can start looking at the actual reasons why MultiversX is doing this. To be frank, again, this is, can be seen as an error, as a fuck up, as a mistake, because there was something planned and they're moving it. So when you are a company doing those making those kind of decisions, it's super hard. So you need to assess, okay, potential bad outcome and compare it with the potential good outcome. And so when you look at the at MultiversX's announcement, you can read between the lines, and I wouldn't be surprised. And there, I'm really talking out of pure speculation, but this event was prepared for MultiversX only, and they most likely tried, because MultiversX has been coming closer and closer with various other blockchain ecosystems in the last year, and most likely some of them in some discussions were interested in joining forces, and so this most likely happened too late. And those other ecosystems said to MultiversX, look, this is too early. Let's do it next year. And so then the trade-off, my favorite word, appeared for MultiversX. Keep maintaining this when they really want to do this global xDay. And so then, we can start understanding a bit better why they postponed. So I believe that crisis was held well. This is why, at my surprise, this could have been a way bigger PR nightmare, but it was handled in a good way, in my opinion, because people like me calmed down instantly when we saw the crisis management tweet. And then when you look at the trade-off and why they're making this decision, in my opinion, it's a positive, because we're still going to the South Korea, so still, going to Asia, but joining forces with apparently several other ecosystems. So this is exciting. This is exciting to see how it will come out.
Thank you, Arno, for your overview. If you can stay with us to challenge other points, and of course, if you need to leave, just let me know, and I will say you goodbye and thank you. Of course, Joaquim, tell us what you think about the how, the why, and the potential impact inside and outside the ecosystem.
So I think already Arno did a very good explanation in the logical steps and how it's been communicated. Indeed, I think it's been communicated pretty well, which is not always something MultiversX gets praise for. So we'll give it to them this time. The interesting part, which I feel like is the elephant in the room, is we were discussing xDays with Robert Sassu literally a week ago, and there was I was surprised once we learned the news of how the interview and the talk about xDay went, when they probably already knew that it was going to get, well, not cancelled, but at least postponed. But anyway, to go to the event itself, I think it's a very interesting vision to go from, as Arno setting, to go for a single event about just MultiversX. Again, I compared it as a breakpoint from Solana, or even a keynote from Apple, which is aimed again to the community. And I think, I probably will never know, but I don't think there actually was that much interest and people willing in this market condition to travel that far for spending 2 days in a conference. I think the beauty of it, and as Jeremy said last week, was that xDay was a community event that was accessible during the second edition with $99 tickets, to then become something that would easily cost over $1,000 for most of us just to get there. So on that front, I think that it's a good thing, and I really like the idea of having xDay satellites, so having events more often and focus on certain topics. And lastly, I think MultiversX, with the efforts they're going towards regulation, technology, etc., which we can say differentiate themselves with a blockchain like Solana, which is much more community degen oriented, is that I think they shine better when they are with other blockchains in conferences, etc., because they get to talk to builders, to VCs, to stakeholders that see the different vision and the different technology, especially now with sovereign chains, that MultiversX has to offer. So I actually think it's a great idea that xDay Global suddenly becomes something about the whole ecosystem and not just about MBX.
Okay, what about, because I think none of you mentioned this, the potential impact outside of the ecosystem. So I don't know if you have a bias or if you heard anything about this. Maybe you have no opinion and it's your right about it. But do you think it will have a long-term impact from outside the ecosystem? I mean, for example, we remember the countdown or the rebranding. These two sequences on MultiversX had a huge impact outside of the ecosystem. I mean, people now that are not in the MultiversX community remember those and are regularly speaking about this in a bad way, to be honest. So do you think this postponement, comment on dit, of the event will have a long-term negative or positive impact, or do you think it will well managed in terms of marketing, and so the impact will not be that strong at the two sequences I just mentioned before? Arno, and after Joaquim.
I'm going to be a bit harsh, but to be honest, we don't care. And I think that the trade-off that MultiversX did regarding this is the smart one to do. When you see, they announced that they are the partner of Token 2049 in Singapore, and again they are pushing sovereign chains. When you connect the dots, you see that they want to do xDay Global with several other blockchain ecosystems. I mean, if they are smart, and we know they are, and they are pushing sovereign chains as interoperability infrastructures that can be plugged into other blockchain ecosystems seamlessly, enhancing the capabilities of those blockchain ecosystems, I wouldn't be surprised to see ecosystems like Polygon, Cosmos, that highly need better blockchain infrastructure that seamlessly can be plugged in their own blockchain ecosystems. And this is a smart thing to do. So coming back to your question, the way retail, and I'm acknowledgeably crushing my own face on this, our perception of this it's not important. What's important is to build those bridges with other ecosystems and push the MultiversX infrastructure within those ecosystems, because this is what MultiversX does the best, building blockchain infrastructure that is highly performant. And if they manage to do this, then there will be an interesting opportunity for MultiversX ecosystem, for EGLD, for all people who believe in this technology stack.
So MultiversX image in the crypto ecosystem doesn't matter to you. Do you think tech is enough to overcome that?
No, but it's, you know what I mean. What's important is not you and me and our perception with our small bags. What's important is B2B right now. What's important is building blockchain infrastructure that is performant and that is going to still be there, relevant in 2, 3, 5, 10 years. And whatever we can do today, whatever the market will do with EGLD, with BTC, with whatever, this will not change the plan of the company. And so this is what is core. And I believe that it's important that the MultiversX is not trashed, of course, as a brand, but this is why they've done a good crisis management to make sure that people who were going to be involved or looking to be involved in xDay Seoul 2024 calm down and don't feel too much pissed so that they go into trashing mode. Because this was the danger here, that people like you or Joaquim or me or other hardcore, I can say believers or part of the ecosystems get pissed. This would have been super dangerous. So they have done a good job, in my opinion, making sure that this doesn't get out of hand. But what's important here is clearly B2B.
Okay, interesting point of view. Joachim, what do you think?
So I partially agree with Arno, but I also strongly disagree with him at the same time. So I'll start from the get-go. Compared to the countdown or some of the claims that have been seen by CT, Crypto Twitter mostly, has like making fun of Multiverse, etc., are kind of different. I think like this is an event, is like in the same way as if, again, I'm going to use Breakpoint, but if Breakpoint was to be postponed, like, I don't think people would make fun of it or criticize it, because it isn't about really delivering some features or something. It is about like a gathering and like a promotional event more than anything else. So I don't think it is held to the same standard as other things. So for example, the massive countdown, like people were expecting massive features or something. So like it was different. It was more tangent. Where I disagree with Arno is when it comes to regular users and the B2B vision. I agree that MultiversX is a very good tool for B2B use cases, especially with sovereign chains. But if you don't tailor to your existing community, if you don't tailor to the small wallets, the regular users, you're not, again, going to attract builders, smaller use cases that are going to prove that you can build something bigger. Because, again, one of the perks of why Solana, for example, now can allow you to pay in those like snacks machines in France with your wallet, etc., is because there's been a lot of small projects. Obviously, there's also shitloads of money, but there's a lot of projects that have like done stuff and done steps to make that easy. And then once a project sees, a big business sees that, they say, okay, there is actually people who are capable of implementing it. We know it works, so we can use it too. So if you don't have those grassroots actors and that community that pushes and has this mentality and good moral to push it, you're actually never going to get the big B2Bs unless the core team has to go themselves and knock on every single door hoping to get some first use cases.
So, yeah, because it's the first time a blockchain conference has been cancelled just a few weeks beforehand. So it's not likely. So according to you, it's not likely to weaken MultiversX any further. And I'm not just talking about the EGLD price. I'm talking about the image they project to investors, big and small, the developers, the project owners, and so forth. So if you want my opinion, the crisis management was very well handled. Really, I said it, I wrote it. People was expecting that I would FUD strongly, but actually I have not, because in my opinion the worst would have been to maintain xDay and with the risk that it's a failure. So sometimes it's better to postpone it for a better result. The fact that they offer help and compensation for people that already booked things is also a very, very good move for people from the community. And to replace this xDay, this global xDay, by maybe a smallest xDay, but closer and cheaper, and yeah, it's also a very good thing, because I think community needs to unite at least once a year. Of course, we can organize our own events, and we do it. But it's not the same that really a core event organized by the foundation. So it's a very good move. So in terms of the how and the why, I think it was perfectly handled, and I am sincere about that. But just the question is about the impact for the image of MultiversX. But yeah, you Arno think it's not actually relevant. It's more about long-term perspective. So it's interesting. And Joachim, you think almost the same, but not completely, because you know the importance of the image of a blockchain when your project needs to launch, or an investor needs to invest something. Of course, he has so many different choices, and it's not just about tech criteria, but also in terms of the awareness of the blockchain, because if he doesn't know the blockchain, he cannot choose it. And in terms of the image of the blockchain, is it trendy? Is it so that's my point.
GRM, if
Arno,
I could
yes?
just, yeah.
Sure.
I love being on the space with Joachim, because he counterbalances a lot what I say and brings another perspective. So I must say that, of course, it is important what current people who are engaged in this market think about MultiversX. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just what I'm saying is that if I am in MultiversX's shoes and I have a trade-off to make, if this is a win in April, in 2 years, what this event, because what they're doing this year is going to impact the next year, etc., etc. So if in April it's a success, the way the MultiversX ecosystem and the state, the MultiversX technology, and as a business, as a company, and we as a community can be in 2 years, if in April it's a success, this will be completely forgotten. And the truth is, when you look at the current adoption of blockchain in terms of businesses, use case being built upon this technology, there is nothing happening. Nothing. It's like, compare this to companies being launched Web 2. It's nothing, because the technology is not ready yet. Just look at the interoperability that still to be built so that this ecosystem is unified as a whole. We still have a long way to go, and I believe that this is why MultiversX made this trade-off, so that in 2 years from now, this whole technology stack, this ecosystem, this community can be in a very different place. And if it's a good trade-off, we will see, then this will be a distant memory that we will just forget.
I agree. I think that when they decided to postpone, etc., and made that trade-off, for them to make it in the first place means that it was the right decision, even if, as you said, we can find it annoying short term, it is for the greater good.
Thank you very much, guys. Guys from the audience, feel free to say what you thought when you learned about this news in the comment section. And if you want to react live, feel free to ask for the mic and tell us what you think. Arno, I know that you need to leave, so I will tell you. You okay? I just read your message. So you moved your call. Thanks a lot for this.
I'm an addict. Hello, my name's Arno, and I'm an addict.
Definitely. So just to be precise, also I asked MultiversX core team if one of them wanted to come live this morning to maybe explain or to answer questions about this, but unfortunately none of the team member answered about my demand. So it's always the same. You can come and speak with us, or we can speak for you. For this topic, I think we partially agree with the decision and the way they announced it. And the substance and the form both are so important. And I think the same news, if it was not that well handled in terms of communication and marketing, could have been a disaster, a real shitstorm. But actually they did, in my opinion, the best thing ever. We can also disclose something. Some people involved in MultiversX for years now were called by MultiversX ecosystem, X-Alliance core teams to warn them before the announce was made on Twitter. So it was well appreciated by us, to be honest, to be warned privately, because it's not just a small change, and most of us had prepared everything for this travel. So yeah, this plus the communication, the replacement, and so forth. Well, in my opinion, was very, very, very well handled. So congrats for this. I'm sometimes very harsh with the MultiversX community when, in my opinion, they do wrong things. So when they do good things, I am also ready to say it totally. So I don't see
it's a pity that Adam is not there today.
Yeah, definitely, but I think he would have said the contrary. Since no, he made a very interesting, very, very funny post to reply to my post after the announcement. He wrote, "Well spent money," and it was very funny because he supposed that because we got a grant for X-Alliance, we became nice to MultiversX. So it was funny. It was fair, because people know Adam and I had some arguments sometimes. But yeah, it was fair and it was funny. But the truth is elsewhere. If I hated, or if I found problems in the communication, I would have said it directly, and the grant won't change a thing to my freedom of speech and my ability to critique in a good or in a bad way things MultiversX project and foundation is doing. So Tikapo, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Yesterday, you inaugurated your role as a columnist on GM Web3, the French version. And today, I proposed you if you wanted to come live to tell us your opinion about xDay changes. What do you think about it?
Hello, guys. So I will try to do my best because I'm not fluent, but I will try it. So I was a little bit disappointed when they realized all of this, because in fact they have a lot of expectation about this xDays, because they announced in Bucharest to release a lot of stuff, and especially making a lot of focus about X Fabric and so on. And then, as a builder, we have some disappointment about the project not launching. So we're still waiting for stuff. And then we heard about the fact that they are not the main focus anymore, and stuff. And then when I saw the xDays in South Korea, I don't understand the strategy, and I was a little bit upset, because I said to myself, guys, we have to focus right now in the Europe first, because you don't make great awareness in the Europe place first, and then you have to conquer outside the European Union, because we will have soon a bigger market incoming as the US and then the ASEAN market. But for the ASEAN market, we know something. They are waiting for some kind of products. This will be maybe your second apparition because you already do an event in this country, but you don't have any gaming projects. And at the moment, that's a pain point. Maybe they will announce something with Tencent, etc., so on. We don't have any info, but if you don't release X World and then just announce that it will not be a flagship anymore, that's a really, really, really hard part to try to launch in the South Korea market. So the fact they start to make satellite events is a great move. They're really great under the trouble. So I don't have any concern about that. And I think I will go to Germany. But yeah, they have to stop to talk to geeks, focus on build a project. They have a good team, good tech. I don't have anything to tell about that, but get community centric. Focus about your project. You are the layer of the future blockchain system. I think a lot of builders will come on MultiversX, and it will be the backbone of the future of the internet of blockchain. That can be this kind of stuff, but at the moment you have to focus on your tech, focus on your market first, focus on your flagships, finish them, polish them, release some great products that make adoption on your chain, and then maybe you can go over there.
Interesting. Joaquim?
Yeah, I think we're quite aligned with Tigapo, but I think there's and we're kind of getting away of xDay, so I'm going to be quick, but I think there's been an internal lesson for MultiversX, as you were mentioning, that xFabric isn't the priority. We also have solutions like xAlias that have kind of been put on the back burner. I think they've come to the conclusion, which I guess better late than never, their main focus should be to improve the blockchain and the solutions, the SDKs, etc., for sovereign chains, to attract builders instead of trying to build solutions that are accessible for builders to do. Because xFabric and stuff like that is things that could have been created by the community. I even remember there was a comment by Mihai from Zuxno that's like, why is xFabric trying to do ticketing when there are already 2 or 3 projects on MultiversX, Zuxno included, already doing this? Like you're trying to create competition against existing projects. And I agree with Mihai on this. I think that they should focus on giving us the best tools to build the best products, and leave the products themselves to the community to build.
Definitely. And I hope the next steps for MultiversX will not just be about sovereign chains, because what about all the projects that don't need sovereign chain and they are useful too? They are building for years now, and they also need help, support, grants, and documentation and so forth. So yeah, I hope the foundation will be able to work both part. The sovereign chain, which is innovating, interesting, interoperable, and so forth, and the other dApps that doesn't need sovereign chain, because it's also very important for the EGLD token. But yeah, it's another topic. Arno, and after Joaquim, before we come to the end of this Twitter space.
Yes, I think what we've seen with MultiversX over the years is that they have always prioritized infrastructure over everything else. The team has always been prioritized. It's really talented people iterating on this front, and it has always been the priority number 1. So I don't think that, they finally understand that they should focus on the infrastructure. It's always been about the infrastructure. You can understand through the way they communicate, the way the leadership people in the leadership role talk about their inspiration. Apple is a big inspiration, both in design than in the way the company is structured. And this is why MultiversX has tried to thrive in a different way through those business units. So we have the most successful one that is Xportal, and the less successful ones for various reasons that are Xworld, Xfabric, etc., etc. I like the fact that, there is this mindset that is evolving into something like survival of the fittest. So Xportal is growing under Sergio's leadership and the great team that is behind into a product that is generating revenue, and it's thriving on its own. So that's great. We see them now expanding to other chains. It's great. The fact that others haven't succeeded and the projects have been scrapped, we don't know all the reasons. Robert talked about, when he was on the podcast last week, he talked about the impact of AI on the fact that Xfabric was deprioritized. This is one of the reasons, but there's most likely many reasons that we don't know. And we are in a position where we decide, do we trust those guys or not to make the good choices? And the fact is they are making choices. And in my opinion, this is good. It is a company that is still moving forward, with its own means, with its own trade-offs and its own reality compared to other blockchains. So comparing them to other blockchains, it doesn't make much sense. Like Joaquim said, apples and oranges. You can't compare MultiversX to Avalanche or Solana. It's not the same reality. They don't put the focus in the same place. So we need to understand their choices from their perspective. And so let's see, Europe, to Tikapo's point, he says they should focus on Europe. Europe is becoming a nightmare for technology. Just see what's happening with the release of the next iPhone. In the rest there will be 2 iPhones built, one with AI solutions and one without. So meaning that the rest of the world is going to have the next iPhone with the latest Apple breakthrough that is their AI, and in Europe we won't. So if you're a tech builder building in deep technology like blockchain, you're looking at those things, and you have to de-risk. Similar to if you own a company that is producing clothes, and in 5 years ago you were producing your clothes in China, you had to make a decision, trying to de-risk your production by going to other countries because it became too risky to produce everything in China. So this is a bit similar, and those are things that we don't know as a community, but they are part of the decision making for MultiversX when they decide to go to Asia or another place.
Joaquim, and after Tikapo.
Yeah, just very quickly, on the part you said where you're saying they always put infrastructure as a priority. I agree. But the reality is also they're a company, they are limited on how many people they can hire, etc. And they are dispersing the resources on several projects, including projects like Xfabric, for resources that could be used in, again, infrastructure, but also documentation, facilitating builder adoption, etc. So while I agree on your general message, I do think, and as you say, it's very good that they're able to kill products. Like there's that running joke that Google kills an average 20 products a year. There's a reason for that. But it still is resources that are taking from the core foundation. And what GM said, which is interesting about is that I actually think that the more documentation and the more they focus on sovereign chains, which use the same logic as the main chain, the more of those tools can be adapted or will automatically be adapted because they'll have the same logic to the main chain, meaning that we will all benefit from it, even if you don't need a sovereign chain.
Chapo, for the last word.
Yeah, that's it. A lot of things have been said, and I agree with you, both point of view. But with Arno and the European nightmare, you're right about that. But they have made a choice about to split some product as company, like division, like BI, and then they choose to go and address some verticals. And the power and the disruptive thing about MultiversX is the fact that we have a company on the top of the blockchain, and that's why a lot of other projects are trash talking MultiversX, but that's also their strength, you know. And the fact that we have that company on the top of the blockchain, the make a choice about because earlier you said this is this guy to make a choice, and we have to respect that. I agree about that, but they make the choice to talk with government to be MiCA compliant and to onboard institution and government into their blockchain, and that's real. And that's why maybe we can have all the let's say big high product or deepest tech product in Europe first. You're right about that, but they have to clear their strategy on that fact. Maybe focus on the basement and the backbone of the blockchain technology in the Europe, but the most innovating thing in the other countries maybe to accelerate adoption. But that will, as Joaquim said, benefit for all the world ecosystem. And in fact, if you already onboard an institution, government, and show them your how can I say that, your technology is a way of higher than all the other ecosystem, and that's stable, that's compliant, and it's working, maybe they will be more attentive to your situation when the question of regulation come to their ears. So yeah, that's what I have to say.
GRM, if you're speaking, you're muted.
Oh yeah, I was speaking, you know me by heart. So yeah, I was saying thank you very much guys for your take, and I was checking on the comment section if anyone posted a comment about this, but actually not. So thank you very much Chicapo for taking the mic. Thank you Joaquim for being with us as every Wednesday. It's always a pleasure to have your builder and developer point of view. Of course, Arno, thank you very much again for co-hosting this Twitter space with me every Wednesday. Before we close the Twitter space, I would like to thank two generous community members who wanted to offer 2 times $25 in USDC to listeners of these spaces. So for your chance to win, all you have to do is to quote tweet the space link and say all the good things you think about us. So thank you to these two generous community. One of them did not want to be named, and the second one I will name him because he did not tell me not to do. It's Manu WFGP. So feel free to follow him, and thank you very much for this gift for the community. So I remind you that you will be able to listen or re-listen listen again to this show on every podcast platforms, which means Apple, Deezer, Spotify, and Amazon Music. You can also listen to the replay on our YouTube channel, and if you are doing so, please subscribe, like, comment, and activate the bell to be noticed every time we publish a new show. And so see you next we have Adam. I can't help giving him the mic. Oh, actually, he just left. Okay. So yeah, I was saying, see you next Wednesday for a new GM Web3 MultiversX with new guest, new topic, new debates, new interview. And for the French-speaking people here, see you on Friday for a new GM Web3, the classical one with same new news, new interview, new discussion, and the comeback of the pitch contest with our partner, the blockchain school Alira. So 4 new projects in front of 4 jury, 4 experts. And they will pitch their project. It will be very, very interesting. So be there. Take care of yourselves. And see you soon. Bye.